This week on my off my video shelf, I just found this recently again. It is a great film. It is one of the most underrated films that to come out of the 80s, especially since it was directed by Micheal Crichton and written by Micheal Crichton. You know Micheal Crichton from Jurassic Park movie and many other films, Andromeda Strain and many others. This one is off the radar a bit. Most people don't even know it, but it kind of holds true to today for what happens in this particular movie. The movie is called Looker, stars Albert Finney, James Coburn, Susan Day. Yes, that's Susan Day. Tim Rossovich, Dorian Haywood, and the gorgeous Terry Wells, who was Playmate of the Month on Playboy in the 80s. So, yeah, she was a looker then. Oh, boy. The main premise of the movie itself is 3 out of 4 models who had plastic surgery done by Albert Finney has been basically turned up dead. Neither the cops or Albert Finney believe that they were suicides because they were made to look like they were suicide. As our faithful doctor there, who's played by Albert Finney, investigates and hangs on to the 4th one, played by Susan Day, he finds a bigger nefarious dealings that is going on. And the reason it's called Looker, it's the whole basis of it. And you know, one thing about Micheal Crichton looks ahead on a lot of his novels. You know what Andromeda Strain was, Jurassic Park, Jurassic World. He deals with stuff that could affect our future in a way, things that may come. And one of the thing is this was done in 81. At that time, internet was still in it's practically wasn't really there that much, but it was there somewhat. Computers were just building up. Cable TV was becoming king. The videotapes and stuff like that was all coming through. Entertainment was becoming big. You know the old saying that your mom always, if you were a child from that era, your mom says, television is going to rot your brain. It's going to turn you into a zombie. Well, in a way, that this particular movie puts out the premise of controlling someone's mind with broadcast television. Not to give too much away, but basically what it is that there's a company in this movie that are creating commercials, and they're trying to improve on it, perfect it. And they found a way of creating the perfect commercial. And what they've done was they've had the models have certain facelifts and tucks, minor details to the millimeter, so that basically they could be digitally scanned by a computer, and the computer does all the work. In other words, it creates a deep fake. You know what I'm talking about now when I say that name. Yes, that's right, deep fake. Could you imagine? Micheal Crichton already called out deep fakes before the word deep fake came out. Think about that for a moment. Think about how we're able to digitalize and create VTubers, characters, animate commercials that basically you would think it's someone in a live action and it's not really, it is. How we can insert someone that has been dead for a long time. How much more can we do with this technology? And when you look at the perspective of Looker, we were at a beginning point there. There is a great little segment in the disc that basically introduction by Micheal Crichton and a little bit of an explanation on the creation of Looker. And I think one of the best things that was in this movie is how these girls were being murdered that was made to look like suicide. There is a weapon in this movie that when fired, you sort of, you're not blinded, but you sort of mesmerized for a moment, and you lose track of time for a time period, for an hour or several hours, depending on how many times they flash you with this gun. If you see the trailer and stuff like that, which we're doing a little bit up on here, it's, like I said, it is fantastically done. The script is good. The acting is decent in this movie. The women are sexy. You're gonna find there's a ton of sexy women in this movie alone, because that's what it is, sex appeal. Sex appeal drive commercials, especially in the 80s. And when you look to perspective to use that sex appeal once again to sort of control people of how they think, what to buy, and even who to elect. Yes, there is a part of this movie that there is a character who is played by Michael Hawkins, plays Senator Robert Harrison, and he's running for president. And that kind of scares you. That basically that they able to influence people by commercials. And you say, well, commercials does influence people. No. Not the way that this movie portrays it. There's a part of the movie, and you see what happens, that there is a signal inside the commercial, similar to the gun that I just mentioned before, that sort of affects the brain, and it makes you do whatever it says. It's sort of in a way, it's a sort of a mind control. And it's done in a way, commercialization. That's why this is such a great film. It is available on Blu-ray for under $20. You can watch it on Amazon Prime if you wish. You can rent it for around $4. I haven't seen it anywhere else, as far as any of the free services. Like it's available on iTunes and Apple, straight on there. Now, a couple things you have to put to premise of it from a technical point. We're only about a year away from Tron from this movie. Looker was the first film to create 3D shading with a computer, and to create a CGI human character, which was the Cindy character played by Susan Day. Most people always tout that Tron was the first to do that, but actually it was basically Looker. Scanning and digitalization on there. There are alternative versions of this movie. Is a longer version, like there's a dinner scene that is, in fact, if you get the DVD version, the Blu-ray version, there is that scene in there that was cut out. It sort of changes the movie just a little bit, but it is, it's fantastic. You may look at yourself and look at the reviews and people say, oh, it's just an awful film. It is so awful. It's underrated. They gave it an unfair bias to the film, like one reviewer said. Because basically, one thing about Crichton, his films are ahead of his time. This one should have been one of the top ones. You look at today's technology, it makes you frightened out of your wits of what we could get to as far as technology. We already have deep fakes. You see, if you haven't done those deep fakes, kind of scary. I'll tell you honestly, from what I've heard from a couple friends of mine, there are deep fakes in the porn industry where they're using deep fake, taking actresses, Hollywood actresses, and putting them in porn segments. The legal aspects of that's got to be settled by a court. You know, in one perspective to another. You know, we have to put to a point where we have to be very careful with the technology that's given to us. And Crichton knew where we were going on there and where we've gotten to. I mean, the movie didn't gross much, but it was still well made, well done. Performances were good. James Coburn. I mean, to see James Coburn in this movie with Albert Finney, that was a good combo in this film. And Susan, of course, Susan Day, you know her on there, and then of course a whole well of fantastic models for this movie. So that is my off the shelf this week, and like I said, you can pick that up on Blu-ray anywhere, eBay, Amazon, wherever you get your local video. Do check it out. It's fantastic.